Welcome to a new episode of Close Up and Personal on the Sensitive Biker podcast. And this episode is named Old Addicts in New Relationships. And it's a kind of a follow up from our last episode, which was trauma and relationship. And therefore, I have, like last time, my girlfriend Sofia Broberg in the studio. And or actually it's not a studio, it's my kitchen, but the lighting might be a little off because it's dark outside, but we'll do as best as we can, and I'm sure that it will be an interesting dialogue we're gonna have. And just to follow up on some of the things that happened in our life recently is that we've been in a newspaper in Sweden some time ago, and also this came out magazine. This came out a week ago. A little picture on the front page and four pages article with pictures and everything. So that was kind of nice having that kind of attention on our relationship. It also gives a lot of light on the club, my club, of course, and also your new job as a therapist. So that's nice. You can't complain about that. And we are gonna talk about some of the problems we faced when starting in our relationship and some of the issues and worries that we have and still have, maybe. So thank you for being here. And we were talking about something before we turned on the camera. You said when we met each other, after we met each other the first time, we were texting back and forth for a while, and you said you wanted to take it slow, and I said I can wait, but I'm not gonna wait forever. And when we meet, if you're gonna sleep at my place, we're gonna have sex, because otherwise it's not gonna work for me. And that's because of some of my demons and trauma from my past relationship, is that I had some women that just kept me at bay for a very long time, so I lost my self-worth and self-confidence, and I didn't want to deal with that anymore. So if I feel that someone is holding back, I'm just gonna drop it and I'll go somewhere else. I'm not gonna play games. I'm not gonna be some kind of a toy that can be tossed around. And I know, of course, I know that's not what you meant, but that's the kind of fears and feelings that comes up in my mind. So for my part, it was very important that I told you this, that this is how I react. So I can wait, and we can meet somewhere else, but if you're gonna come to my place and stay for a couple of days, we're gonna have sex. And how do you felt about that? How do you feel about it?
Now I feel okay, but when you first said it, I became a little frightened, because I hadn't had sex for several years, actually. I had been very much on my own or with friends, and kind of shut that part down in my life. And I remember you telling me that I could come here to drink coffee or so, but then we should meet in a restaurant. But since I had 500 kilometers to drive, of course I wanted to spend the night, or 2 nights actually. And I think that when I first met you physically in Sweden, you were kind of a gentleman to me, and that's what's made me dare to come here. And I felt that as I said in the last podcast here, very strong attraction to you, and I didn't want to miss this chance of. I wanted to take the chance with you. So yeah.
But you also told me that you were in your previous relationship. You had the same address, but that was kind of it. You were hardly ever in the house at the same time. He was traveling, you were traveling, so you hardly ever saw each other the last couple of years, and you had already bought a house in Thailand and was planning on going there for work and live. So you have kind of giving up all of that. But did you, so the reason why you felt okay, or the reason you did it, was that because I was a gentleman at the first time we saw each other, or because you felt you didn't want to let go of this chance? Did you feel that I was kind of pushing you in a way, or?
Not pushing, but you were honest, and I wasn't used to that kind of honesty. And you said, this is the way I feel, this is the way I want it to be. And I was afraid that I almost forgot how to do it, but I just went here with an open mind, because I really wanted to meet you, and you didn't come on to me the first time we met. We were just speaking and dancing, mostly speaking. So I felt safe with you. So otherwise I wouldn't have driven the 500 miles.
For me, it was important for me that that you knew when we met each other that you were not just another woman for me to conquer, that I wanted something serious. And I hope that that's the way it came across. That's the way I wanted it to be. And I always honest, and like I said the last time also, I tried to scare you away, because I didn't want anything to come back later and said, oh, why didn't you tell me this before, and yada yada yada. So easy, get all that out of the way. So now you know all the bad things, and where do we go from here? And it was kind of funny. Maybe I remember it wrong, but it was kind of like we talked together, and you, I don't know if you got cold feet or something, but you said, oh, I can't come tomorrow anyway because I have something. And I told you, yeah, it's fine, but I'm not gonna wait forever, and I'll wait, but I'm not gonna wait forever. And then we hang up, and 20 minutes later you call me and said, I'm on my way. So that was kind of funny, I think. But it turned out all right. You were here now. Yeah. But it didn't make you. How did you feel when you got here? Were you nervous, or?
Actually, I wasn't as nervous as I was supposed to be, or. I remember it was dark when I arrived here, and I remember that you said you were gonna stand with a flashlight to show me the way, and it felt okay when I arrived, and I still have that feeling 1 year later. It's you, it's the place, everything. I felt comfortable.
Well, I'm glad. But there's still some other issues, of course, and I think that for addicts, we have kind of at least I have a kind of defense mechanism where I want to be close to you, but I still have a little different, a little barrier. Even if I'm totally honest, I still have a barrier, kind of protect myself. I don't want to get hurt, and I don't really want to hurt other people. That's why, for me, the honesty is very important. But the more you get to like people, and the more this barrier crumbles, this defense, then things start to come up, because then I have something to lose. And are you honest about this? And what I'm feeling, is it right, or is just someone that wants to con me? Is this just a joke? And all those bad things, am I good enough? All those things come up, and you had some of the same feelings.
I did, because I lived in a first bad relationship, and then it wasn't even a relationship, and I knew how to handle myself in that situation. So to come here and to open up, it's still scary for me, because I feel that I can get hurt by opening up, and then I don't know who I'm gonna be. If I have lost the old me, and now I'm opening up to you, and I'm getting vulnerable, but at the same time, as you said, it's that was among one of the first things you said to me, that honesty is priority one if we're going to be together.
But there were some times when we talked about honesty and talking to each other about things, and you weren't used to that. You hardly ever talked to your ex, but you had a lot of arguments, I guess. Yeah. And you talked to me about some of the issues with your family, your father, and your ex, and when we, I felt it like when you get pressured, you get nervous about my intentions, and then you start attacking me. And I defend myself because I get triggered, of course. But afterwards, I can see that actually the attack is not about me. Most of the times, it's about. It's actually. When you blame me for something, it's actually, I can hear in your voice and the words you're saying that it's not me you're blaming your father, you're blaming your ex, you're kind of, it's your trauma that's coming up. It's actually not, of course, sometimes, but most of the big arguments we have hasn't been about me or us. It has been about trauma from your past. And for my part, it triggered me, because it's like, I never said that, I never did that, and that's in the past. I can't change that. So I got kind of in the defensive corner, but afterwards I can see that it wasn't me you were angry at. It was something else, and I feel it was it came from a place of fear and like the trauma response, because I tried that as well in many occasions. So it kind of mirrored some of the way you acted. Am I wrong?
No, you're right. And I felt.
Right. You heard that? She said I was right. The woman said I was right. Burn your calendar. It will never happen again.
I felt that history has a funny way of repeating itself. And I actually went through some really bad things in the past, many years ago, where I had to prove myself and defend myself. I was compared to people by my ex, by his family, by my own family or my father. And I got really scared by that when I got, it's just a feeling. But when I got this feeling here with you, it was like I got 25 years back in time in a second. So and when I get afraid, behind that is I'm getting angry, and it's fear behind that anger. So so that's why
I think that's
reacted.
normal trauma response when you and also you got your life turned upside down. You actually you moved here and you kind of gave up your whole life and lifestyle because of the distance you decided to move here, but also because of what had happened with your ex and all the turmoil in that with the courts and him swindling your company with money, and you having to close your company but still being responsible for some of the missing taxes and the swindle with money on accounts in other countries and stuff like that. So I can understand where you're coming from, but also it's a whole new life for you. It's a different life. We've been visiting chapters all around the world in my club. We've been riding motorcycle. You're used to driving sports cars and wearing expensive jewelry on vacation on exotic islands and stuff. It's a different lifestyle. So that has been hard also, I guess. Or hasn't it?
No, it hasn't. Actually, I feel more calm than I've done in my whole life. This is not a lifestyle that I ever thought I was gonna have. But now when I'm here, I feel surrounded by true people and people who speak from their hearts, and it's a brotherhood and sisterhood that I have never experienced that before, only with a couple of my friends. But it has been a nice journey, the journey I've had with the traveling with my bestie. But I have seen the places I want to see, and now I feel that I am not working and hunting for another trip to get away, to escape. I live my life. I don't survive anymore. I live every day. I feel good when I wake up every morning. I feel calm. I feel happy. So I don't need to go away. But then I love to ride with you and to meet new people, even if some of them don't even speak English. I can feel the warmth with those people. So it's a whole new life for me, but I love it.
You also, one of the things you said to me because we talked a lot about last time all the demands that I had in a relationship, what I wanted, but there was one thing I remember you said was that you couldn't have a relationship where we didn't live together. You wanted to live with me under the same roof.
Yeah.
And we do that now.
Yeah.
but why was that important for you? That was that had to happen as quickly as possible.
Yeah, in the beginning, I traveled back and forward, and of course, that wasn't an option for a too long time. But
With work and everything.
I think that since I've never been with someone and we're just gonna meet once in a while, and that's not a relationship for me. So if I want something, I want all of it. So and with you, it felt right.
I also listened to a lot of Kevin Samuels, and like I said last time, that's something that made me realize how I wanted a relationship, or how I wanted to be in a relationship. And he says many times that a long distance relationship is not a relationship. So if you have been in a long, it doesn't count, because it's you have to be together close to learn from each other and learn how to interact in a relationship. So you can't use that experience in a long distance relationship and take it with you in another relationship, because it doesn't count. It doesn't give you anything when you're not together. You're not close, so you can get irritated at each other. You can't figure out problems and learn each other's moods and stuff. So I have to agree with you on that. But I never thought that actually I would live with someone again. I never thought that would be an option for me. So you can stay there and I can be here, and I need my space. But there was something about you that also wanted me to be close to you, and kind of figuring out that it's actually nice just lying together on the couch looking at a movie and waking up beside you and stuff like that. I never had that before, really. I wanted it, but I never felt it like I do now. So, and it gives me a lot of peace inside, and that's important. But also, I wrote in some things down, because when I'm stressed, my brain is like a Swiss cheese, a lot of holes. So one of the things that was important for me as well was that I wanted to do things for you, and you wasn't used to that. You wasn't used to me opening your car door, holding your hand, opening the door from the restaurant, and standing there in back of you up the escalator and in front of you down, and all those things that I feel a gentleman should do. I was never taught this. That was something I saw, and something I told myself, that's what I want. And I just practice it to where it comes normal to me. And I'm still practicing. Sometimes I forget, but mostly I remember. And that's also something I learned in my self-envelopment. If you want something, act like it. If you want to be a chief, act like a chief, talk like a chief, walk like a chief, speak like a chief, everything. And that's what I'm doing. I want to be a gentleman. I act like it. I talk like it. And it becomes more and more natural for me. But that was not something you were used to.
No, since I've been alone, even in a relationship, I guess I was like both the male and female, and I've become a survivor, and I'm good at taking care of myself, and it's like I didn't want anything from anyone, so they could use it against me. That's part of it. So this was new for me, and I'm still learning to take something without having to give something else. So you kind of brought my female side up to the surface a little bit more.
Yeah. But I guess some women might say, "Oh, I can open my door and I can do this and I can." But for me, it's more like you're important to me. I want to treat you like you're important, and I want other people to see that you're important to me, so they can treat you with the same respect as I do. So that's also aspect of who I want to be. And I chose you. We chose each other, but. I wanted you to be my girlfriend, and that makes you special because I now in my life I know what I want, and I know where I'm going, and it's very important that the person I'm with knows that and wants to follow, because I can't fight the whole world and come home to a house in turmoil or with drama or unrest. I need peace, and you give that to me. So that means something to me. That means a lot to me, and that's also why I want to treat you that way, because you're important, and if you want to do this with me, you want to stand by my side while I go slay dragons and fight the world, then I need to treat you with respect, and other people need to treat you with respect as well. And basically it comes down to you're being my girlfriend. I need to be able to defend you in my life, if possible, or necessary. I mean, not possible, if necessary. And we kind of talked like this when we were out traveling once, and you didn't really understand in the start. You thought it sounded a little strange that I wanted to die for you. Mm-hmm. So I had to explain. But why did you think that was strange? Because did you understand it enough? Did I explain it good enough for you to understand?
At first, maybe you didn't. I misunderstood, or I didn't understand it. But then you explained in a better way. But no one ever spoke that way to me before, or showed me that they would actually stand up for me. So that was new to me.
Yeah, I told you I'll take a bullet for you any day.
Yeah.
You said, what? What? What do you mean? What? You want to die? Yeah, that was a funny conversation. But yeah, I think maybe if you never had that, or I never had that either, and I've found women with the same trauma as I had, so and I didn't like myself, and so sometimes I had good relationships with good women, but then I started mind fucking myself and said, if you like me and I don't like me, then there's something seriously wrong with you. So bye. So that was kind of fucked up, but that was the way I was looking at it, because I felt I was broken inside. So I found other broken people, so we could be broken together, and that just made me more fucked up than I was to start with, because it didn't work. So I'm actually thankful that I'm alive today and sitting here with you and still figuring things out. But the last 10 years has been good. The last 6 months have been great. So you're still getting there. But there was some things that you had not an issue with, but some things that you start asking questions about a while ago. Because when we started getting together, I told you about I told you about all my issues, but you didn't seem to have an issue with my past as a Nazi or past as a criminal biker, but you start asking questions about sex addiction for some while back.
Yeah, I started to ask questions because it was kind of interesting to know about the addiction, which I don't know much about. And I remember one of the questions I asked you, is it more common for someone with sex addiction to be unfaithful than for someone who doesn't have this addiction? And but you gave me a good answer to that. So that was a fear I had.
Yeah. The answer I gave was that of course, when you're addictive, when you have an addicted personality as I have, you have to be careful about anything that actually can give me some kind of rush in my body, get the endorphins running or whatever, sugar rush. Everything can be too much when I have this personality, and I got that from growing up because I didn't feel I get any comfort or love from my parents. Of course they loved me, but they wasn't able to give me what I needed. So I got this addictive personality to kind of fill that void inside my soul. But sex addiction with me, a different kind of course, it was an addiction, but I was never unfaithful because a lot of the people I went with in therapy for sex addiction, there were a lot of those people, they had trauma of things they did, and they felt guilt and shame because they cheated on their girlfriends, and they spent all these money and all that money on hookers and whatnot. And for me, I never did that. I never paid for sex, and I was never unfaithful because I was afraid of losing what I had. I had that attachment, what's it called, fear, and that's also from my childhood because I didn't get the attraction from my parents and the love, so I was afraid that they were gonna leave me, and I was afraid my girlfriend were gonna leave me, and I thought that I was never good at holding secrets, so if I did anything, then it would come out into the light and I would lose her and my life would be over, I thought. So it wasn't that I didn't want it to when I was addictive, but I was too afraid to do it. So I flirted with a lot of women, like I told you, and but I never did anything because I was afraid of the consequences. And that was actually why I never did drugs, because something inside me told me that you're gonna die if you do this. So I was afraid of it. That's what kept me from it. And my fear of losing whatever girlfriend I had at the time hold me from being unfaithful. So it was fear that kind of held me back. And so for me, looking back, that can actually be a good fear sometimes. But I never had, I never had that shame and guilt surrounding sex. and also a lot of these people, they did stuff with their partners, or they did had some of the men had sex with other men, and they felt ashamed about that, and some of the women had sex with many men at the same time, like a gangbang and stuff like that, and they felt ashamed about it. And I never did anything I felt ashamed of. I don't know why, but I just had that feeling that if I did something that I didn't like, I just said, okay, I'm not going to do that again. So I took it like an experience to kind of find my own boundaries, and some way, in some places I could kind of push the boundaries, and other places I had to kind of take a step back. But I was never ashamed of anything I done. It was just kind of experience, kind of adventure is the wrong word, but something like that. And I think that's one of the reasons why I never felt that I belonged at meetings with sex addicts about sex addiction, and I felt more at home with other 12-step programs. So that was never an issue for me. I had to cut off my internet at some point because I was looking at porn and jerking off 8 hours a day. But other than that, I never used money on it, because that's why I never started smoking, because I thought it was expensive and it was not something I wanted to spend my money on. I wanted to spend it on something else. So I never did those things. So that was the kind of reason that kept me from it, and I told you, and you kind of took that for that was okay. At least you never asked of anything after that, so I guess it was okay.
Yeah.
But that was the thing you were most afraid of, was the cheating thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the cheating thing, or if I were gonna be away for a couple of weeks, and how you're gonna manage that. And but I guess I had the wrong opinion about that kind of addiction.
No, not really. Just it's different with me. But most people that I met with sex addiction is unfaithful at some point, or buy hookers once a week, twice a week. It's kind of also chatting with other women, jerking off on the internet and stuff like that. But for me it was different. I never done those things. I never even paid on sites on the internet or something like that. We had it back then. I'm not that old, but I was more into magazines and DVDs. So that was kind of my thing back then. But yeah, it's, of course it can be an issue, but there was a point where we had some issues where it felt like when we didn't have sex for 3 days or something, that you got kind of irritated, like I'm not good enough, or we had discussions of things, and I kind of told you that this looks like it's an issue, because now we're fighting again, and we hadn't had sex for 3 days, and we did it last time. What do you think about that? Have you thought about it after I told you?
Yeah, I have. I didn't really connect our fights or disagreements that it had passed like 3 days without sex. But when you reminded me, and I've been thinking about it, yeah, maybe you are right the second time. So maybe it was something back in my head that said that, oh, now he's less interested in me, or. But it's still a little hard to connect those things. But yeah.
But I also get it sometimes when we don't. But I don't get angry or anything. But when I can feel, oh, now we haven't had sex for 3 days, I get kind of shocked, because usually I would be shouting and throwing things by now, but I'm actually kind of cool about it, and I know that if I want sex, I can just tell you, or I can just take what I want. I usually do. So it's not an issue, and I think that actually knowing that it's not an issue also gives me a kind of peace, that I don't have to think about this is, you're going to use this as a weapon against me if you're mad at me. And because there was a lot about that going on in some of my former relationships. So when there was an issue and we were going to have an argument, then I was fully on. With the blame game and everything, and yeah, you say I do this, you do that, and this and everything, and I got angry because I was thinking in my brain kind of like, fuck it, now I'm not gonna get sex for a couple of days anyway, so now I'm gonna tell you how I really feel about everything that's going on. And I'm very glad that we don't have that it's not a weapon, and it's actually something that we both enjoy, and it's a pleasant thing for both of us. It's not something that are being used against each other or anything. So that's very comforting, and that gives a lot of peace for me, at least. So next question, before we get too much into it, we get banned on YouTube. That wouldn't be a good thing. But another thing we talked about was male friends. I had an issue with that. And I don't think you really understood when we talked about it the first time. But for me, it's kind of like, I'm a man, I know men, and I know what I do. When I was sex addicted, I had, I don't know, sometimes 10 women I was chatting with, and some of them had boyfriends, and then they broke up, and then I had sex with them, and then moved on to another one and stuff like that when I was single. But so I know how men think, and men are usually not friends with any women they don't want to have sex with. And there are tons of videos on social media with men kind of baiting their women to call up some of their male friends and offer them sex, and then they're on right away, because they're just sitting there waiting for something to happen. And I told you that that's not something I want. I don't want if you're sad one day and you call up one of your male friends and you tell him that, oh, Thomas did this and that and I'm sad, and he said, oh, oh, it's sad for you, and he's not the right guy, and yada 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 yada, trying to talk himself into your pants and ruin our relationship in the process. Um, and I don't want that in my life. I don't want that kind of trouble and that kind of drama, because that's how men are. That's how I was until I got my self confidence back and figure out that I'm worth more than waiting in line just to get laid. I want a real relationship. I don't want this game, which it actually is. That's why I don't like dating sites. I use them a lot, but it's not the kind of relationship I like. And I'm glad that we didn't find each other on a dating site. So that's a plus. But you had a problem with that when we talked about it the first time, I remember. Was it because of you thought I was kind of trying to control you, or you didn't really think that your friend wanted to have sex with you? Or
Yeah, I guess it's more, first of all, I don't have...
You don't have a lot of male friends.
No.
So it wasn't an issue, and it's not now.
The men I spoke to are like real friends, because I know their wives, and it's their wives I speak to. So no, it wasn't an issue. But I got, I believe, kind of surprised when you said to me that this is the way man thinks. Of course, I understand that some men thinks this way.
Oh man.
You're wrong. I don't know, but it's not an issue to me, as I said, because I don't spend time with other men. I didn't do that before I met you either. So of course I can speak to men if I meet them in the city, or but it's not like I'm calling them and drinking coffee with them. So and
they're not like your girlfriends.
No, definitely not. My girlfriends, I share, some of them I share all my secrets, and we speak about everything. But it kind of made me a little bit sad to know that men actually thinks that way.
Yeah.
Because...
Sorry.
Yeah. Not to see the worth of the person.
But that's our... We're just an animal. That's our nature. And we think we are different just because we're humans, but and human actually means sea monster. So we're just an animal, and we can't shut off those instincts just because we live in houses and drive in cars and have fancy dinners at restaurants. We are still just an animal, and therefore we have those instincts, and they will always be there, hopefully. And if it wasn't, we wouldn't be this many people on Earth, because animals want to populate and we need more people and more children, and if we didn't care about each other in that way, we wouldn't be this many people, and we probably won't be here, any of us. So yeah, sorry about that. But also we talked about girlfriends, single girlfriends, and like I told you, single girlfriends keep people single, keeps women single. And you actually had some episodes with some of your not close friends, but some that were sending old pictures on my Facebook profile to you and trying to make drama in our relationship.
And it wasn't even friends, it was Facebook friends, and that's a big difference.
Yeah.
People that I just know them a little bit. we barely say hi when we meet in the street. But I have them on Facebook.
Yeah.
And since you are a person that has an open page and there are a lot of videos about you, YouTube and Facebook and Instagram, actually I was that interested for them to go look deeper at your page, and then to send me some old pictures and like try to humiliate me, and that brought me back to
trauma response again.
Yeah. And I promised myself that no more.
But we also had that discussion. I kind of got defensive when we started talking about it, because it's my past and I can't change that. And in my mind it was kind of like, now I got a new girlfriend and she wants me to delete everything else. And then when this goes wrong, I get a new girlfriend, and then I'm going to delete everything again. It's like I'm deleting my past life every time. And I was thinking like, what? It's my past. What the fuck? But looking back and seeing at it now, that I should have deleted it sooner. But for me, it was also a kind of trauma response. You're not going to tell me what to do. I'm going to decide. I can't change my past. But I can understand why you felt the way you did. And especially when other people dig it up for you and kind of serve it to you at a silver platter. So I got kind of... that time I actually felt kind of bad, because I felt I should have deleted sooner. And we had some discussions about that, and I just focused on the people that brought these issues up, instead of actually looking at our relationship and saying, what is that really that important to me? What is this doing to you? And I should have deleted it sooner. So I'm sorry about that. I already told you. But that's what happens when you get triggered, if your trauma and I get triggered, and then our demons kind of fight because of each other's traumas. Then we kind of shouting at each other, and all that comes out is actually just fear, and we can't hear each other because we're talking from a place of fear and not actually sitting down and saying, I know this is your past life, and this is actually has nothing to do with me, but when people bring this up, it gets me feeling in a certain way, and maybe if you think about deleting this stuff, and something like that. And I could do the same if there are some issues of you, instead of just attacking each other. But that's something, I think that's actually something we learned from, because I think we talk much more now. And listening to what's its name? That's that brain again. Listening to a lot of videos on social media about different kind of things, and lectures I see on YouTube. It's actually a lot of people say that, you have to have a meeting every week if you're in a relationship, and sit down and talk about what happened during the week and issues and problems you have. And I think if you don't take the time to talk to each other, actually scheduling it would be a good idea for people that are very busy. I think that we kind of learn to talk to each other when things come up. And I'm kind of a antenna child, so I can kind of feel when you're feeling a certain way. So I keep pushing you until you tell me what's going on, and then we talk about it. And actually, 9 out of 10 times it comes out the right way. I think that we can actually find a solution together. And we had some problems, of course, but I think that we are in a place now where our relationship is much stronger than anything I ever had before with anyone. And I think that's because we are honest and we talk to each other. Mm. Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree. Even if it gets a little hot sometimes, it's important that I can actually say what I have to say, and I can talk about things that I never could talk about before. So I can put words on a lot of things. So it's very good. I appreciate it.
I do too. I think it's important, but also when you're not used to it, that's a whole other ball game when you're not used to talking to each other. And like I said earlier, your relationship was kind of non-existent. You were just having the same address, nothing else. So being able to and actually be necessary to talk to each other is also something new, and that's hard sometimes.
Yeah, it makes me vulnerable. In a way that I wasn't used to.
Next thing on the agenda, we were kind of I saw a video on YouTube about something called the Gotham theory. Gotham theory. You heard about it? Well, it's when you talk to newly couples, and if they have these 4 things, they call it the Riders of Apocalypse. Then you can actually foresee if the relationship are gonna last for 5, 10, or 15 years or longer. And the 4 riders are kind of contentment, stonewalling, criticism, and defensiveness. So if you have kind of these 4 things, your relationship is kind of fucked.
Yeah.
And do you want to say, do we have any of these 4 things? Do we have contentment for each other? No. We don't stonewall each other.
No.
Well, sometimes you get a little quiet, but I can usually pull it out of you anyway. Yeah. I don't take no for an answer. And criticism, we had some of that, but I think we're kind of past that now, because like we talked about earlier, it's in fears, and when you actually know that's where it comes from, it's easier. And I think it's better to talk about things before they get a big problem. So when there's an issue, we have to talk about it. Otherwise, it's going to be a big problem, and one of us is going to explode out of the blue one day, and the other one is not going to know what's going on, because the issue at hand has nothing to do with why the other one exploded. So it's very important to talk about things, as we established earlier. Defensiveness, like we just talked about, we have a little about that, of course, with me not wanting to delete the pictures, and you're blaming me for things that in the past that I can't really change. I can't do anything about my past because it's the past. There are no past or future. There are only this moment for now and forever. So, but the things we have is something we talk about. So I don't think that it's anything that I actually don't see anything that's gonna ruin our relationship in the future, because we're honest and we want to work this out. Like I don't remember who asked, if it was one of the interviewers in one of the magazines or if it was one of our friends, but asking about I totally got it there. It just disappeared. But what were we talking about?
We were talking about criticism.
Yeah, but I think that it's very important that that we listen to each other, that we actually that we can manage everything because we want. Now I got it. They were asking about our relationship, and I said that it's a choice. I chose you, so I have to choose you every day for the rest of my life. I might see someone that's more beautiful than you. You might see something that's more beautiful than me, but it doesn't matter because we chose each other. And the more time we spend together, the more we build up our relationship and our memories together. We know each other better. We know each other's strengths and weaknesses, and we know how to interact. What I know what you like, you know what I like, and that's not something you can buy. So actually, other people showing up in your life in the future, I don't see as an issue, because we chose each other, and it's as a pretty face is a dime a dozen. So there are pretty faces everywhere, and a lot of women say to their husbands, or I'm getting old, I'm getting this, and I'm getting wrinkles. But I actually don't see that, and I don't think most of the men do, because beauty is from the inside. It doesn't matter that you get older, because it's you I like, it's you I want to be with. So we can't, we can buy it, of course, so we all look like the Kardashians or something like that. All is the same lips, the same ass, the same forehead, everything. But who wants that? I know every wrinkle in your face, every scar. So I don't want to change that for anything. So, and I don't think that you will ever do anything to hurt me that could damage our relationship. Of course, I could be wrong. I never know, but I can't imagine it ever happening. So what is? So you're getting the last word in this episode. So what do you think of our conversation and of everything? Is there something you want to say to the people listening?
I think we had a good conversation, and very important for me was the talk we had the other day about this with the sex addiction, of course, and knowing that hasn't anything to do with being unfaithful. And also one thing, when we speak about the past, and I agree with you that we cannot change the past, but we got to leave the past where it belongs. But I am also grateful to you, because I can speak about my past, which I was never allowed to do, or I was allowed, but it had consequences. So I've turned down, I put down my past for many, many years. And I have experienced good things in my life too, which I could never speak about. And now we can talk, and I can tell you stories about my past, and you're listening. And so that's new for me. And
that there's no consequence for you telling the truth.
Yeah.
It's not getting used against you.
No. So that is fantastic.
I'm glad I could help. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I hope you enjoyed this just as much as we did. And remember, don't have a good day, have a great one. See you next time.